Alrighty, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Report. We got a fellow podcaster slash YouTuber slash DFS extraordinaire, Mr. Brave Bird News. What's up, man? Tell everybody where they can find you and what you're about.
Yeah, man. BraveBird News. You can mostly find me on YouTube. You can just search BraveBirdsNews. I'm also on Twitter, but I rarely ever check that. So definitely started about 3 years ago on YouTube. Just about every single sport you can think of. But for the fall right now, I'm just focusing on NFL.
Right, awesome. What made you start YouTube? Tell the people a little bit about that before we get into the show today.
I was like everybody else, just looking at other YouTubers, and actually, my wife said, Walter, you can do this, and I said, nah, I don't think so. But just like I said, having a good woman behind you is always important. So when I first started, she's more tech savvy than me, so she would do
Right.
everything, and then she slowly pushed it into my court.
Okay. Well, good deal, man. Well, that's awesome to hear. We'll go over some DFS week 4 slate. What a week, huh? It's going to get
Yeah,
kicked
man.
off
After
here.
last week's insanity, right?
Dude, me and you were both talking this up, man. Chalk just absolutely smashed last week, and it's freaking crazy because usually a lot of chalk fails from my DFS experience. Like, usually higher owned players don't really do as well. And we got some of those spots this week, so I'm interested to hear your takes on that. So we'll get into that. But first off, let's go ahead and jump into, I see you're repping your Falcons gear, so I know you're a Falcons fan. Let's talk about Mike and Bijan in the Falcon gang here in this Commander game. What's your opinion on this
This is going to be
situation here?
interesting. It's going to be interesting because the Commanders have a lot of injuries. So they have Mariota out there again. We know McLaurin's not going to be playing. It's going to be on the road, and then you have that emotional part of it. Dan Quinn going back to Atlanta, Mariota going back to Atlanta. Dan
Right.
Quinn's been
Oh,
in Atlanta before.
I didn't even think about Mario. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
that's true.
bro.
Revenge
Like,
narrative. Little revenge narrative playing here, huh?
yeah. Dan Quinn's been back to Atlanta, but he was the defensive coordinator for the Cowboys, so his first time as a coach. So I think if you had asked me 5 days ago, I would say it would be a terrible day for the Falcons. But with all the injuries, I think we'll see what happens.
Okay. Well, what did you think about the press conference with Mike? Why did he just keep calling him Mike?
I didn't. I missed that press conference, man. What happened? What happened? Who
He
was
just,
calling him
he
Mike?
just it, the what's his name? Raheem Morris just kept calling him Mike. He said,
Oh,
"Yeah, we're not out on Mike yet," and then just kind of like he kind of like brushed it off. I don't know.
don't
I
get me
got
mad.
burnt last week. I played so much Bijan Robinson last week, it wasn't even funny.
Man, don't get me started on Raheem Morris. We got to focus on DFS. You know how I'm not a happy camper. That was some bad
Raheem the
coaching.
Dream.
What do we do? What do we say?
It said Raheem the Dream.
Yeah. And then we fired with our wide receivers coach or something. That was the problem. So
Yeah. Well, we're gonna find out this week in a pretty good game. What's the over? We have 43.5.
okay.
What
Yep.
are we thinking? What are we thinking here? Some takeaways from this game, because to me this is a tough one because you have Michael Penix down here at what 3% ownership,
Yeah.
$5,100, and a like you said, an injury ridden slate here on the Washington side. Mike, as Raheem would call him. I don't know if I love it. I think I seen all I needed to last week in Carolina from Mike, but I am interested in Bijan. What do you think? Do you think we just kind of stay away from this Mike
Yeah, I think if it's
experience?
out from on the Falcons side, if it's not Bijan, I don't think. I just think it was just there's been three different teams in three different games. So is it going to be a four Falcons team in this game? So I think Bijan's the only Falcon you can put out there. Obviously, if you're going to have 20, 30 lineups, you can maybe put some London and Pitts. But I mean, you and I were kind of talking about Mooney. He couldn't even catch the ball last week. So
Yeah, I was getting
uh,
ready. I was getting ready to mention. Do we go back to the Moon Man well one more time here with 2% ownership, $4,700? I believe last week he was 46, so he's went up $100. It seems
I mean, we know
expensive.
he's
I
a
think he should
downfield
be around
threat.
4K.
I mean, I'm wearing all this Falcons gear, man, but I really think it's really risky. Let's talk next week after this week, and I can tell you anybody beyond Bijan. But I mean, Pitts is a little bit interesting. Obviously, Tyler Algier always gets a chance if you're really trying to get risky there. Where's Pitts? What's his percentage right now?
I think 5. Let's see here.
Okay.
I think it was 5 last time I checked. 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's up to 6. Wow, $3,600. A little expensive for Pitts, but I mean, who else do you have in this 36 range? I mean, don't even say Brenton Strange. If I hear one more podcaster talk about this Jacksonville train wreck that is about to come off it's already came off the rails. Travis Hunter's not playing both sides of the ball, so shout out to all the best ball DFS bros that just kept pushing the Travis Hunter narrative all year. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we knew that he probably wasn't going to play a lot of receivers, so I didn't understand that take. But what do you think of this game and the tight end situation there with Brenton Strange? 3% ownership, $3,200.
Yeah, I'm definitely staying away. You and I talked offline. I actually like the defense the most. I think they're number one fantasy defense right now.
That defense is pretty legit, bro. Like, they're a streamer for me every week for sure. I am going to stream the heck out of some. What are they even pulling this week? Jags 2%, $2,500.
Wow,
that's cheap.
Yeah,
That rush defense, I think they can put it down on Purdy. I think they're going to try to blitz a lot of blitz packages. So expect a lot of hot short routes from this Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy experience, I would say. No tight end. You don't have to worry about Kittle. So, I mean, if you wanted to play that side of the ball, you could, right?
Yeah, what's the backup for Farrell or whatever? So is he now
the feral cat is what I call him. That's the feral cat.
Yeah, then we have Jennings, I think is questionable, and who else? The other quarterback, Pearsall, whatever his name.
Ricky Pearsall was actually in the Millie last week, and I was on him heavy. I just couldn't get enough of him in. I put like 17 different lineups, added him to 17 different lineups, hand building, and I just couldn't get enough because I was on that at like on the late swap there when Jennings was ruled out. I was like, well, I mean, I know where the targets are going, you know what I mean? And he was cheap and pretty low owned, but I didn't have him in the right lineup, of course. How did you end up doing this week, if you don't mind? What was your best fantasy lineup you had for the people listening?
It was not a good week. It was actually a good fantasy week. I was going to tell you that I had Ricky in my fantasy, but I was a homer, and you're going to hate me and laugh at me. I had Romo, the kicker for the Falcons, who got 0 points because, as you know, the Falcons got 0 points. So
that was, but I just think that's such a fluke game. Like, I don't know. Just everything just went wrong. But also, we knew Carolina played them tough. So these divisional games are always tough, man. I mean, you got Tampa. I don't want to jump all over the map here. We'll get to the Jags and the San Fran, but you have Tampa versus the Eagles this week too, right?
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be interesting because I think Evans is out, right? So, and then
no Evans.
Tampa owns, the Eagles relative to, the record. So
7-1, I believe.
Wow, is that bad? Is that lopsided?
7-1 or 8-1, one of the two. I can't remember, but yeah, it's up there. And yeah, I don't know. What do you think about this Jags game, though? Are you just getting any pieces of this? Or are you taking McCaffrey? Because we know McCaffrey's going to be ultra super mega chalk for the 4th week in a row, and I will keep fading him. And I know it's stupid, but now I have a reason to fade him. The past 3 weeks, I had no reason to fade him, and for some reason, I just kept fading him, and he kept winning. He was in Millies every week, just popping out 22 points. I don't think that's enough to get you there this week. I think you're going to have a little bit more production up there at that $8,500 price tag. Just insane to me. Little. That's a $600. Was he 79 or 78 last week?
Yeah,
that's a huge.
Yeah, you and I are on the same page. Once again, the only maybe the wide receivers for San Francisco and the Jags defense. But I'm like you. I'm staying away in general. I want to see what Purdy we're going to get coming back from injury.
Yeah, and he wasn't looking too great to start the year either, so that's something to mention too. And I don't think he's as great as led to believe. I think a lot of that's offense coordinators, Shanahan offense. You know what I mean? He's going to give the quarterback the least amount of things to worry about, and try to get the ball out quick, and that's what they do in San Fran. So I don't know. I
Purdy
don't
got
really
the
like him
bag
either.
now. He got the bag, so he's kind of relaxing now.
It seems like it, doesn't it? What's he at? I know he's going to be nowhere. 7%. Yeah, okay. I'm out. I'm out on Purdy. No, that's too much for Brock Purdy. And he's what, 6,100? Yeah, $6,100. So yeah, whatever. Not a fan of this game really in general. I guess you could say maybe if you wanted to throw a Brian Thomas, he's going to pull no ownership. 12%. Never mind, he's pulling some ownership there, and he has not produced. I was going to say if he was like 5%, okay, I could get down with some Brian Thomas at 5%, but 12 from what we've seen. What's a ceiling, right? We've seen it last year with Mac Jones. He's never done good with Trevor Lawrence ever.
Man, I mean, you convinced me. Like I said, we've talked offline. You totally convinced me. Brian Thomas has ruined my fantasy team. You and I are on the same page. I mean, it's a shame. It's a shame because you don't want to pivot away from him, and then he has a bomb game. But they just
and get
look
scorched.
disjointed. They just look
They're not
disjointed.
on the same page. They're not on the same page. And plus, Trevor Lawrence and his head coach hate each other, I think. So that was pretty crazy when he was telling him hit him in the hands, and he just threw his hands up. Oh no, he pushed him away. Trevor Lawrence pushed his head coach away. So we see the respect level there. I'm out on him.
I mean,
I've been out on him. I've been calling him a bust since day one, but I just don't want him
Andy
part of
Reid's
this.
fighting with Kelsey. You know, Andy Reid kind of bucked up to Kelsey there on the sideline. That was great.
Yeah. Well, he probably needs it, dude, and he probably just needs to retire. Kelsey's like 38, man. He's done. He's toast. I mean, Calais Campbell was out the other night at what, 40?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
For the Cards, yeah, I think for the Cards, yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy game. Anyhow, yeah, I don't really like this game. If I do want to go it, and I'll show you a little nasty stack that we can get off some ownership here, and I think we can really make a play. And he's produced. The only person on this offense that's produced, in my opinion. And I don't know why we keep playing Brian Thomas or Trevor Lawrence or Brenton Strange, but people keep going back to that. Well, they can have it. Go ahead and give me Travis Etienne at 5,800, 4% ownership. I think this could be a slam dunk play here. I will have a lot of this Travis Etienne play because you're pulling. I mean, let's say this game script's not in favor of San Fran, right? And we're thinking of like a CMC 22-point game again. 22 points, that's great, but at 50, I mean at $8,500, that can't get you there. This is how I'm playing through it in my head. I just think Travis Etienne's a better play at 5,800. No ownership. Awesome work rule. I think Tootin was a little banged up this week at practice, so maybe not full health there. He got robbed by Tootin last week on a touchdown he should have had. That was insane. What's his yardage per carry this year? Do you know?
I don't think it's the best. But my question for you: what are your thoughts about going at $100 to Hampton?
That's where I think that's where a lot of people are going to go, and
Okay, so
I don't blame them. I don't blame them for it. One thing I would say that maybe this game is if I'm not playing a Hampton in this game, then I want to get some exposure to this game still, because what's that game even at? It's at like 40 what?
It's ridiculous.
43. Okay, no, it's not that. Team total for the Chargers only 24 points. I don't know if you have to get into this game. Maybe this game's just like a 2 touchdowns from Herbert, and maybe it's just I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's a mad play here. This game, I do like Hampton at 19, but at 19% ownership, man, it's just I'm not seeing myself get there because this team, I mean, he had one good week last week, but previously to this, we haven't really seen a Marion Hampton. I don't know. The whole situation here, I just don't like it. 19%.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna get this game, I'm just gonna go to Scattaboo at 5,500, 13%.
Man,
I like that a little better. Just for the
he looks legit.
He does look very good. Of course, one game sample. You know what I mean? We don't know exactly, and I think there will be some overreaction. I don't think he sits at 13% though, bro. I think he creeps up to that 16, 17 with right there with Hampton. I think they're going to go about similar.
Yeah, definitely. I like Scatterbo. I like him better than Hampton. Just looking at him the past two games, then obviously he was a beast in college. So I mean, he's a bruiser. So definitely like him. What are your thoughts on what's the guy for Cleveland? Judkins. What's his ownership at right
Sean
now?
Junkins? Oh,
Yep.
it's nothing. He's probably 2%, I would say. Nobody's playing him this game. It's a nasty game.
Yep.
3%, 55. Okay. Yeah, I like Judkins. I like him better than I like a Hampton.
Yep.
I don't know if I buy that 19% on Hampton. Jordan Mason absolutely put a knife into me last week and just dug it in and stuck it. Okay. And I should have known this because you know how I feel about Carson Wentz, dude. I think if he's not the worst quarterback in the league, then it's a close second to Rattler. So, I
Dang.
mean, Wentz is like 50, man. And this defense just absolutely torched me this weekend. I think I had like 2% in my whole exposure to Minnesota defense. So I knew I was cooked from the get-go. I just turned it off after a while. I just said I don't even care.
Yeah.
So you think
Yeah,
what's up?
yeah, if you didn't have Vikings defense, you were screwed last week. What they get 30
No,
so
32 points plus
yeah.
a Jordan Mason with 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I actually thought the Jordan Mason play was fun because at about around the first half, he didn't do anything. He was like at 14 points at halftime, I think.
Yeah, you feel like a genius, didn't you, man? You feel like a genius.
Yep, I thought I mega minded it, but it was dumb. It was a home favorite. I should have known. That's why I don't like Hampton. He's not at home.
True.
They're going on the road here. Yeah, so do you like Scatterbo at 55?
Oh, definitely. I have my little notebook like you do, man. He's my favorite running back. Just like I said, looking at him, like I really like him.
Dude, that pass catching ability. I didn't know he could catch passes like that. So he's got some hands there. And I think you could see some checkdowns to him from Dart. Maybe Dart panicking in his first start here a little bit.
And then
Feeling a
Neighbors is
little bit.
questionable, and I think they're tight end too. Johnson, whatever his name is, they're both questionable. So
Right, Theo Johnson. Yeah, that game is just, I don't know. To me, it feels like it just underwhelms. Both defenses are very good. That's
yeah,
why I don't like it, mainly. Both defenses, I mean, this Giants rush defense is really good. They kept Mahomes in check, so I feel like they could probably keep Herbert in check as well. So I like Scatterbo in this game. I don't really like Neighbors. To me, it just kind of feels. I mean, you're going to have people on. Let's see, who do we have? We have Keenan Allen at 8%, pretty high there. QJ's fun though at 7. I like QJ.
yeah.
But New York plays a lot of man, so I don't know how I feel about QJ totally. I like McConkey. I think he's going to be well liked though at 4%, $6,500. We haven't seen him this low yet. He's possible to pop for that 38-point game. He's done it before. We've seen his ceiling. We just haven't seen the targets go his way this year. It's been the Quentin Johnson and Dust Bones Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen probably goes out this game. He usually lasts about four games, and he's usually got hamstrings until about week 13. And that's Keenan Allen every year. He's battling hamstring every year. So I don't know. I don't wish that upon him or anything, but he does get injured a lot. So he's very injury prone.
No, he's the Chargers version of Mike Evans. I mean, they're very similar. They're good when they're good, and then something always happens.
Mike Evans really hasn't been performing this year either. So I don't know what's up with that. Maybe he's just at that age, is this the decline that we're seeing? It was last year the final push. He's on the slope down. Is he even going to get 1,000 this year? That's up for debate. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I like McConkey. I really don't care too much for Malik Neighbors. I'm not buying this Jackson Dart hype. What about you? Do you think Dart's the truth? Do you think this is the Brian Dable shit show experience? What do you got here?
Well, I'm looking at when I think of value quarterbacks, I don't care future. I mean, 4,500. I mean,
4,500.
13? Well, we need to get 13. How many points do we need to get at 40? How many?
Yeah, I think that's a good move, just for that reason. But on this slate, I don't know if I can get down with it, man. Just we have so much up here at top. We have my favorite player this week, Lamar Jackson, but we also
Mhm.
have Josh Allen on this lineup,
Yeah.
Hurts in this lineup. We have a lot, Mahomes.
Josh
When have
Allen
we seen
scares me. I like Cook, but
5%?
obviously, if it gets out of control, that game get out of
What,
control.
dude? This game probably is done at halftime. If I have to take a guess, I like seriously. Like, what do we
Yeah,
expect here out of Josh Allen? Like 20 points? Like, I don't think that gets you there with that $8,500 price tag too. Sorry,
that's my thing.
$7,800,
It's not him.
77.
But why would you? Yeah, why would you risk injury in a game like this?
You're
I mean,
not,
this is
and
tight.
they know that. That's a good point. You know what I mean? I mean, look what happened last week with the Cardinals.
Yep.
What did the
So
Cardinals play Saints last week? Is
Saints
that
have
right?
played, Saints have played everybody tough, so somewhat tough.
Yeah, I mean, the offense just is. I mean, I just don't think they have the personnel. You know what I mean? I was on Rattler a little bit there at $4,600, just to get garbage time touchdown, maybe some rushing upside. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that dart play at $4,500 is fun, for some crazy stuff. Maybe he is really good, and maybe he does rack up some rushing. I think his line's set at like 36, 35 yards, I believe. So his
Okay.
rushing yards are up there, for the projection. I mean, Vegas projecting his rushing yards. Um, I don't know if I totally get down with it with like a Lamar. I think Lamar Jackson can absolutely break this slate in three pieces in like three quarters. You know what I mean? Like I feel like Lamar's one of those quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, another one of those quarterbacks. If Jalen Hurts gets 2 rushing touchdowns this weekend, I would assume that everyone's probably dead in the water. Same thing with Lamar. If Lamar gets one, I think people are going to be starting. They're going to wish they had Lamar Jackson. They're going to wish they had Jalen Hurts. I think this is a big week for big quarterbacks, and I don't mind spending up. Nobody's going to.
So do
That's
you
what's
think
amazing.
do you think there's going to be some residual effects? Do you think the Ravens are really going to shy away from Henry because that's which helps Lamar? What are your thoughts on
Right.
that?
Dude, that's where I'm at. This is so I want to play them both, but you really can't. You know what I mean? I mean, unless you're expecting like a super mega ultimate like 9D chess move here, like a Derrick Henry jump pass to Lamar Jackson or something weird. You know, does that happen? No. Is it smart? No. I do love them both this week. They're not no ownership, man. That's what I love.
Yep.
Give me a Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry sub 5% every day of the
Yeah.
week. I will take it. I will take your money and run. You know what I mean? Like I think that's
Yep.
just the hammer that no one like. Sometimes I get too contrarian. I think like I try to get
Yep.
different too much, right? And sometimes the best plays on the slate are the best plays on the slate. Like Josh Allen, he could be the best play on the slate if the Saints could push him back, but they're not going to push back. You know what I mean? Like this game's probably like a 28-6. Like I think that's the final. I think they played just enough defense. They kicked 2 field goals there. Blake Groupie for the New Orleans Saints, who they're not who they. That's what what's the Saints what do they say? Um
Who that? Who that? But don't
who
make me
who
say that. They're the
who that?
Aints.
Yeah.
They're the Aints,
The
by the way.
Aints.
They're not. They're the
The New Orleans
Aints.
Aints. The Aints are who we thought they were, just like the
Yes.
Jets. So,
So what are
yeah,
your
that's
thoughts? I'm sorry, my bad.
go ahead. You're good, bro.
What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams? It looks like his ownership's kind of high. What are your thoughts on Caleb Williams?
If I played Caleb Williams in week 2, I would have probably made $60,000, and that's legitimate. Like that's like I had everything to do with that Lions and Packers game. I mean, the Lions and the Bears game. Just Caleb did not produce enough for me. He got 17 points in that game, which was not enough when Jared Goff was on the other side throwing 36. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
thought Caleb could get 30. Like if Caleb got me 30 that week, I would still love him. I just don't trust this Bears team enough.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
we've seen a lot here from them. The Caleb Williams show he's not a good quarterback. And I don't know, everyone thinks he is, and that's great. You guys can love it. I think the backup behind him is better, Tyson Bagent. That's just what I think. I think he can run the offense
Wow.
probably better. Look what Ben Johnson done to Jared Goff. We thought Jared Goff was dead. Like
we did.
Ben Johnson gave him that. He was on life support. Goff was like he was heading out of the league. Like Sean
Yes.
McVay said, "Here's the door, bud. We'll catch you on the next one." You know what I mean?
Screwed him.
I mean, that's just what I think, and I think Ben Johnson's a very quarterback friendly coach. Caleb Williams, I'm up in the air at 6%. He's not crazy, and I don't like Mahomes at 9%, but I could get down with some Caleb Williams. I like that game. I liked it last week too. I like this Raiders team because they have no defense and they can't run the football. So
that
you're
was
going to
my
expect
thought
some
process.
shootouts.
Yeah. No, and I don't think Caleb is the answer in real life. You know, sometimes I say things fantasy this week versus real life. I have a person at my job who's from Chicago, and I just get so tired of his delusions of Caleb Williams.
Yeah, you would expect he was like Lamar or somebody, you know what I mean? Like that's what they chat about him. Like I don't see it. It's just not. He's not it for me.
Nope.
Give me a Josh Allen or a Lamar Jackson any day of the week. Yes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that game's fun though. What do we have on Geno? I mean, 9% on Geno. Are you kidding me? That's absolutely horrid. I loved him last week at 2%, but I don't like him this week. What do you think about the trade? What's up?
Yeah, wasn't he like in the Millie Maker lineup, Geno Smith, or one? He was in one of the winning lineup.
Yes, and I had him. I just had him with Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers. That was my issue. That's what I kept running to. I had a lot of Geno. I just didn't have. I had like 1% Trey Tucker with like a single stack, and it done okay, but that was it. I think it's.
I had Trey Tucker because of you, so that helped me. I was like, yeah,
yeah. I'm a Raiders fan, so I do like the Raiders, and I like Geno, man. He didn't write back, you know what I mean? So Geno's a dog. I loved him from his West Virginia days. I like Geno. I just don't like him at 9%. This could be an easy, just a fail spot for Geno. Maybe not. But what do you think about Genty if you don't go with that Geno stack?
No, you and I talked offline. I'm done with. I let other people do that.
18%. Let's see his stats for the year here. Let's go to.
You're gonna vomit. Don't do it. You're gonna vomit, man. You're gonna vomit. Don't do it.
What's his stats like? I want to know what's his yard per carry.
Don't do it.
Okay, so he's let's see. Yeah, Genty's not 18% worthy. He has 144 yards on 1 touchdown this year, guys.
Don't do it. Let somebody else do it.
Okay, so he's 3 yards a carry. I'm just out on this whole Raiders offensive line. That's terrible.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. DFS is a marathon, not a sprint. If somebody gets lucky and sprints into a win, I don't feel bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to win over 20 plus weeks. So, no.
Right. And that was Trey Tucker last week. So we'll see that again. I think his ownership's going up. Anytime somebody drops 40 burger like that, they're, a lot of normal people. There's probably a lot of casuals still playing by week 4, but this is interesting. 20% on Jacoby Myers. What do you think about that?
Insane.
That's insane. Yep. I agree wholeheartedly. Jacoby Myers does get a lot of targets, just not really going to boom you up for that, 20 plus point performance. I don't think this week. He can in some weeks, but I do like this tight end though, and he's cheap. Cheapest you'll ever see him. $5,800 Brock Bowers at 9% ownership. That's good leverage off of Jacoby Myers if you wanted to run a Geno stack.
The tight end I love the best, going back to that Saints, Johnson has double-digit, fantasy
every
points.
Week,
I don't know his ownership. What's his ownership, though?
He's 7%, so not bad.
Okay.
Not for his targets, not for that target share. I mean, it's either going to him or Olave, so it's pretty dialed in there with those two.
Yep.
Yeah, I like Juwan Johnson at $4,200. Anything else to add on to that? Vegas and sorry, I just blanked. The Vegas and Bears game. What about a Dunze?
Once again, he made us look silly, didn't he? He made us look silly.
Well, dude, I swerved it. I swerved it so hard. Like I didn't play near. I played like maybe 11% Dunze last week. and I late swapped off a lot of him, which actually was probably pretty stupid because I late swapped into what's the running back there for Dallas?
Williams,
Yeah, I thought Williams could really just
me too.
tear that slate into two parts. Bears don't have a rushing defense. They're bad against the rush. But this is just the Adunze hype, I think, could be real, but I just don't think this week. I liked him when he was like 4% and $4,800. At $6,300, he's got to score you a touchdown this week at $6,300. So Caleb seems to like him though. So I mean, and he's always in play, I guess. Nothing really else. What about you? Think about anything else on this slate? What about
That's
Swift?
it. I mean, for 5,800, I paused on Caleb, but at the same time, I could easily argue just pay 200 more up for Mahomes.
Right. Yeah, I would do that. I would rather do that 10 times full before I would trust Caleb Williams. With my hard-earned dollars. DeAndre Swift though at $5,400, 8%. It's some leverage off of those Caleb Williams and Raiders plays too, in a sense. If you think this game's competitive, I think the Bears want to run the ball.
Yeah, man, I don't like Swift. I feel like there are other options in that price range. I don't like and I mean that by looking the eyeball test. I'm like, man, this doesn't. How old is he now?
I like him on. He's $5,400. I like him on showdown slates a lot more than I do. GPP Sundays. I think he's always sneaky on showdowns because he's low owned. But 8%, I don't love it either. I'm kind of with you there. I'm kind of out on that game. Let's see what else we have. So what do you think about this LA versus Colts game? Now, this one is where I think the money's going to be made this week. Made or lost, I would say. What's your opinion on this? Highest total of the week.
We've talked offline. You can look at all the stats. Daniel Jones is coming back to earth. I mean, he's trending back to earth.
Yep. 6% ownership on Daniel Jones. I think he gets wrecked by this Chargers defense. They're probably the best defense in the league, in my opinion. Maybe behind them or the Eagles. We've seen what they did last week, right? They absolutely shut down that Eagles offense.
To the last 3 minutes, right? Into the last
3 minutes. And got pooched on some bum stuff. But that's neither here or there. That was LA's game. LA's legit, dude. I'm buying into this LA hype, though. I do like these players for the LA Rams. Devontae Adams being probably my favorite.
Yeah, what's his ownership right now?
Nothing. It's going to be nothing, I would assume.
Everybody's going to Nakua, I'm sure.
Everybody loves Nakua, and 17%. Never mind. He's a little up there. He's not Nakua at 23, but he is at 17. So it's something to keep an eye on. He's hurt too. He's got a hamstring issue. 6,200. I think you're right. I think it's an easy pivot off of Nakua. Now I want to get your take here, Walter. What do you think about going with a Kyren Williams? Now, how contrarian is this? Because you're just absolutely cutting everyone's head off if you say that Kyren Williams has a blow-up game here. Don't give me Nakua. I like Kyren Williams a little bit better at $6,300, 17% ownership. What about you?
I mean, that guy has a nose for the end zone. I mean, just simple as that. How many touchdowns did he have last year? 20, or it had to be a crazy number.
I think it was like 17 or something like that. Now, he doesn't catch a lot of passes, which is why people don't love him as much. I don't think you necessarily need to catch passes if you're scoring, 2 times in the end zone, which he does very frequently. Kyren Williams, I think he's an awesome play this week.
Yeah, I agree. Corum,
what do you think?
I don't know what Corum's getting. I think he's still the backup, right? What's his name from Michigan?
He got 8 touches last week, I think.
Okay.
Blake Corum did. So his work usage is coming up a bit, and he's a little bit bigger back. But I think Sean McVay really likes this Kyren dude. I think if there's one person that he trusts to put the ball in the hands of, it's Kyren Williams. He's not really a fumbler, you know what I mean? I think Sean McVay likes to to favor these running backs, and I think Kyren's one of those guys. I was going to look up the stats, and I was looking this up the other day because I was very interested in this. Colts versus opposing running backs. What is their record this year? I know that Devon Achane scored a touchdown. What's his name? Last week scored a touchdown on this Colts defense. The guy for Denver there, J.K. Dobbins. Seems like we're seeing a lot of touchdowns being given up to this by running back to this Colts team. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I mean, I like Taylor. I like Warren. But, I mean, Warren is dependent on Jones. So.
Right. So you had Devon A-Chain. He had 55 rushing yards, which isn't great. J.K. Dobbins had 76 against this team. So it's not crazy, but I did notice that. I remember Devon in week 1 had that touchdown for the Dolphins, and then J.K. had one last week. So I'd like Kyron to score a touchdown, maybe 2 this week. I think it's good pivot away from that Nakua chalk. What about on the Colts side? What's your opinion on JT28?
Love him. I mean, just consistent, man. In DFS, we need consistency. I mean, nothing's promised in life or in DFS, but he is closest promise as far as consistency, and that's what you need. You need that. You got to have a little bit of contrarian, pieces to your lineup. So having I like him.
Right. I think he's a good play away from Daniel Jones. If you're wanting to get off some of that Daniel Jones and you have a Nakua in a lineup, maybe you run like a little single stack there with a Devontae Adams, JT28 bring back and just get out of that game. You know what I mean? Or you can onslaught it too. I can see this game going multiple ways. It's fun though.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the salaries, man. I mean, you have at 7,700, Barkley at 76. So I think people are going to pivot away from just because he had one bad game.
I like it. If there's like each DFS week, like I look at like players that can absolutely cut me in half, and nobody's playing them near enough. Very recency bias, the DFS community is. We still believe that Saquon Barkley is a legit running back, and he can absolutely take you to the house for 60. We've seen it over and over again. We've seen him go for 200, on a Sunday night game. Like it's not out of the realm of possibilities for Barkley. I think he's being underlooked, and I think he's underpriced. 7,600. So is Taylor. Those guys should be at the 8K range. Bijan and CMC should be at their $7,500, $7,600 range. I think they got it mispriced there.
What's Gibbs' ownership right now? I'm just curious.
He's going to pull low ownership this week too. I like
Cleveland
the game. 8%, so kind of high. I think that Cleveland defense is legit against the run game. I do like golf in that situation. So yeah, that's just kind of round. I like Taylor. I think he's a pretty good smash play too, every week. Just for the work usage alone. I mean, you're probably going to get 20 plus carries. Now what you're afraid of in this game is LA's running with this game early. And you have a Daniel Jones behind the helm. If you wanted some exposure here in that wide receiver room, I know a lot of people are going to be on Pittman. I think he's going to be a little over-owned. 7%, $5,100. I do think Josh Downs is interesting, though, at 4,100 at 4%. That's cheap for Josh Downs. I mean, he just hasn't got that usage yet.
He's a downfield threat, right? I think.
He just hasn't got the usage yet this year. He's been hurt. So I like Josh Downs a little more than Pittman in that game. Easy to bring back, you know what I mean? I'll run my Kyron stack or, a Kyron and a Devontae Adams and then bring it back with like a Josh Downs or a weird Adonai Mitchell play, which I think is pretty sneaky too this week because there is no Alec Pierce. So that was really the downfield guy was Pierce, but you have Adonai Mitchell at no ownership, 0.8% ownership, $3,100. So talking about a salary saver there and a guy that can cut you for 20. Adonai Mitchell hasn't done it, but except one game, I think last year he had 20 plus, but we've seen it done before.
Kind of in that same, I know different game in that same salary range, and you and I talked offline about it. And I know Xavier Worthy is going to be back. What are your thoughts? Are you still high on Thornton at 4,000?
I am absolutely. I think this is how Patrick Mahomes plays, man. He just dials in on a receiver that he trusts, and he's going to feed him the ball. We've seen it with Rashee Rice. We've seen it last year with Worthy. This year it's Tyquan Thornton's turn, and I think he's a legit speedster. I think he's way underpriced there at 39 or 4K. No ownership. I love Tyquan Thornton this week, and we'll get into this game because this is one of my favorite games of the week. This is the bombs away. It's 2 under owned. This should have been Jared Goff in the Dome 2 weeks ago with an Amon-Ra St. Brown, Caleb Williams stacks all over the moon. Like, that was a smash spot, and I feel like this is our smash spot here. Sometimes the best games are just the best games because they got the best players in them. And I think this is one of those games this week. So you say Tyquan Thornton, I say heck yes. I've been on him for like the past 2 weeks. After I seen that, that first the Hollywood Brown miscommunication that everyone didn't get noticed to. Hello, guys. This is still Hollywood Brown from 2021 Baltimore Ravens. Hollywood Brown. He's still the same guy. He hasn't changed. This is the same guy. I'm not a Hollywood Brown truther. Dude, he's consistently one of the biggest bums in DFS, and everyone loves him. You remember when he played for the Cardinals too? Everyone just you gotta love Hollywood Brown. You know what I mean? It's just no, I'm not with the. He's always hurt. He's always something wrong with him. I don't know. He drops a lot of passes too. I don't like Hollywood Brown. I like Tyquan Thornton. Price adjusted, Tyquan Thornton's awesome.
I'm not a big fan of the Browns. I know 5-6 years ago, everybody was talking Julio Jones and Antonio Brown, his cousin or whatever, and Antonio Brown is better than Julio Jones. I'm like, Antonio Brown is not better than Julio Jones. I'm like, Julio Jones doesn't. So no.
Go listen to Nick Saban talk about Julio Jones. Now, if Nick Saban doesn't know football, then I don't know who does.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Hollywood Brown's even in discussion this week. Xavier Worthy's fun though at 5,800 in a game I love. He's probably not going to have much ownership. 6%, a little high. That's a little high for Worthy coming off that injury. Maybe he's just a decoy this game, and I think this is
exactly.
And I think this is what I'm thinking. I think Lamar gets up on him early. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to be in a trailing script. Either Lamar or Henry gets up on him early. I don't know which one, but one of them's doing it. I don't know which one. Haven't dialed that in yet. Lamar's a little harder to stack. Derrick Henry's pretty easy because you can probably play him in a Mahomes lineup. You think Baltimore's running with this lead here. Mahomes is playing catch-up. I don't mind single stacking that with a Tyquan Thornton or a Travis Kelce at 40 what? I know I said he's dust, but he's so cheap this week. It's almost unbelievable. He hasn't done anything in like 8 weeks. But I think
he only plays in the playoffs. He only gets up for the playoffs.
He only 11%. I don't know if I like Travis Kelce, but $4,800 Travis Kelce. Yeah, I like it at $4,800. It's fun. In a big game.
Look at Noah Gray, 5 and 6 targets the last 2 games at 2,700.
Noah Gray, he's always live for a touchdown at 2,700. 2% ownership. Won a game with no Trey McBride. We don't really have that high scorer other than Brock Bowers, which I love. If I'm looking on this tight end slate here, anybody that could get me 20 plus, I'm either thinking Brock Bowers, Travis Kelce, or Laporta. That's probably my 3 main. I don't know about this Warren kid. I don't like him. I don't like Daniel Jones. He's pretty good, I guess. Tyler Warren seems like a workhorse type of tight end, but just not that elite. To me, it doesn't seem like he's got that kind of like that Isaiah Likely, like almost a wide receiver, Harold Fannin type, Kyle Pitts type. You know what I mean? Like kind of in that got some speed to him. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem like he's very fast at all, which is very concerning to me, at least.
What are your thoughts? I think Mariota's a bum, but what are your thoughts on Ertz?
He loves Ertz. It's a good safety valve for Mariota. In a game that the defense should show up for at home, you would hope, right?
I hope.
It should be a good game on paper. And just Mike Penix just lets me down every week. Mike Penix, man, Mike. Machine Gun Mike, that's what they call him. But, I don't know. It just To me, it seems like this game's going to be awesome. Tyquan Thornton, awesome play. I'm going to keep riding this till the wheels fall off him because that's one of those players that Mahomes can lock onto deep down the field. We're talking about a busted Baltimore defense who's not very good against that long ball. Shout out to Jameson Williams, who should have had probably 200 yards on that Baltimore slate, but for some reason did not catch a target in the second half. I didn't understand that. I had too much exposure to JMO at captain in that game. But yeah, what do you think about that? I like Tyquan Thornton. I like Mahomes. I like Lamar. I like King Henry. King Henry's interesting, man. That's kind of where I'm torn between. I'm wanting to get around to those three players. I just don't know how that game flips out when the dust settles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
6%, $7,200 Derrick Henry.
I mean, he's had fumbleitis, man. He's scaring everybody.
Yeah, that's a little concerning. Yeah, do you think that? I feel like Harbaugh kind of is going to have his back this week and really show him out. I think he could have a big game. I think Henry could have a 29-point game. That's in the range of outcomes for Derrick Henry. He's one of those running backs, like I said, that can really wreck a slate. And those are the type of running backs like they can keep all of the Murray and Hampton they want. I don't know if I get there. To me, it's just not that type of running back week. I think you spend up here and you go with these higher price tag guys. Nobody from the Kansas City side of the ball. Pacheco's terrible at 0.5 ownership. Kareem Hunt could be a flyer at 48 if you think he gets in the end zone. That's cheap enough to get you there just if everyone else fails,
You said it best earlier in this, man. There's some people that are good showdown players, and there's certain people that are good main slate players. And you got to understand that. And once again, like I said, somebody's going to look up. You got to have a consistent process. You can't have your process zig and zag because of these outlier things. So there's no way,
right.
Man, Hunt, you get 40 fantasy points. Good for you and everybody who starts you.
Right. Yeah, I was just saying, big brain. If you wanted to get stupid, get silly, there you could probably throw in a Hunt or something like that, and hope to God he scores 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't put it in like a single entry type build for sure, but you're right. He's more of a showdown slate. I think this game really pops off though, is why I want to get pieces of it because I really think this game can go over pretty easily. You have Isaiah Likely who practiced in full today at 3,200. It's interesting. We've seen what he done last year to the Kansas City Chiefs. Just nothing yet this year.
I like Likely. Obviously, with Lamar, it's just so hard. Is it going to be a Bateman game? Is it going to be a Flowers game? Is it going to be a Andrews game? Is it going to be a Henry game?
I like Andrews too, though, man. I like those tight ends for Baltimore. Andrews is super under-owned this week. He's like 5%, 3% Andrews at $4,300. We seen him get involved last week. He was a part of the game script, and I think they know they have to win with Mark Andrews in order to win games. I think they realized that last week. They got to get him the ball. He's one of the bigger catchers on this team. I wouldn't say like he's like one of the bigger time receivers that Lamar can lock into. Him or Likely. I like them both. If Likely plays a little bit down on Andrews at that point, because Andrew does do a little more blocking than Likely. Likely catches a lot more passes. At 1% ownership, though, it's interesting at $3,300. On a busted tight end week with no McBride, Kittle, nobody like that. So it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I think you can risk it. With tight ends, it's different. You can risk that with a tight end. It's
kind of like the defensive position, right?
What do you say?
It's kind of like the defensive position on DraftKings. It's the luck of the draw, man. Last week with the Vikings, you're just on them that week, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like those two. I like that game a lot. It's probably what a lot of my ownership's going to go to in that late window too. So if Omarion Hampton does fail, which I hope he does, I should be looking okay. I would think going in that second half with either a King Henry or a Kyron. But who knows? Next game I had on the list. What do you think about this Tampa versus Bucks game?
Bucks versus who?
Tampa. I mean, Tampa versus the Eagles. I said Tampa versus the
Oh
Bucks.
yeah. I
They're
mean,
playing themselves.
you know, right? I wish forfeit, but no. I
Right.
mean, we've talked about, like you said, 8-1 in the last 9 games. I mean, the Eagles, and they're going to be. Are they going to be in Tampa? Oh, they're going to be in Tampa too,
Yeah, it's
as
in
well.
Tampa. Bucky Irvin? Is this a Bucky Irvin show out week? What's that?
It could be. I mean, Godwin's
What's
coming
the
back.
lineman's? The lineman there, Tristan Wirfs, going to be back too this week. So
Okay.
they're going to have some
Yeah.
running ability. We know Todd Bowles don't mind to run the ball, and he's pulling a little ownership, 13% at $6,900. Just a little expensive. If he was around 65, I would say he's probably a smash. At 69, though, he's kind of up there in that range with Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley. You know what I mean? Like we've seen Bucky Irving's ceiling around that 30-point range, 28-point range, which is pretty good ceiling. You know what I mean? Like it's up there, especially in a game that they're trailing. They don't have a Mike Evans, so they throw in the ball more to Bucky Irvin, setting up some screens, different things like that. Always in the realm of possibilities.
I
Just
would
seems a
pay
little
Georgia
expensive.
more. I'd pay Georgia more for Cook, or I would go down like we talked about and go for Williams.
Yeah, he's kind of in the no man's land there, right? At
He is, man.
69.
It's crazy.
It's a little expensive for what he's done. He hasn't done much.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of that. What do you think about Saquon on the other side of the ball at 76, 13% ownership? Project him for 20 fantasy points.
I don't know, man. We've talked about it. We talked offline. Gibbs is. I mean, you said Gibbs is the best in football, so I'm not going to argue with that. 100 more, but we've also talked about Taylor. I mean, and his consistency. So, I mean, it's weird to make say Barkley's a contrarian play because he's not necessarily. But for
Right.
me, I would either go down or up.
Right. And he hasn't done much this year, which is very concerning, but he's always, like I said, he's one of those players that could really do it to you. You know what I mean? Like we've seen a 40-point game from Saquon before. Like we've seen what his ceiling can be. I
Yes.
don't know necessarily if it's this game. I do like him though this week. I want to get some exposure there.
Yeah.
I just kind of pivot off of because I'm not playing a lot of Jalen Hurts. I think they
Yeah.
try to eliminate the throwing ability and make them run the football. So that's kind of my reasoning behind going with a Saquon is I don't really like Hurts this week. But yeah, nonetheless, those guys are in play. What about this massive up? I mean, this is just crazy here. Where's he at? Abuka at $6,800, 9% ownership. What's your thoughts and opinions there?
I mean, he's going to be the wide receiver 1, right? I mean, Godwin's coming back, but Godwin's in the slot.
He's got to be on a pitch count, right?
You would think so. You would think so. So who else is that? Who else is left? And Odd's been playing terrible this year. So Sneaky is Odd, and Odd is sneaky, but I guess he's just been blocking this year. I don't know what the heck is going on with him.
Yep. Fun fact about this Tampa Bay team, Walter. They have not scored a single fantasy point, the tight end room in Tampa Bay.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's been terrible.
Yeah. I got burned on Otten like the first 2 weeks because I loved him. So I don't know. Like you said, it's sneaky for sure. Always live for a weird touchdown. Those seem to happen to me on slates. I don't play them, but
I don't get what's going on, man.
He's at 3,400, so a little expensive. I'd rather take my chances with an Isaiah Likely than I would a Cade Otten.
Yeah.
Just no ownership at 1.2. I like Theo Johnson in a better game script at $2,900 than I do a Cade Otten. You know what I mean?
Yeah, rookie quarterbacks love tight ends, so I give you that.
Right. Yeah, so that's kind of what's your opinions on the quarterback room? I'm assuming you say no about Baker. He's just overpriced for what he's done. Hasn't done much. Couple 20-point games, nothing crazy. No Evans this game, so you think a little fade spot here for a Baker Mayfield with no ownership. 0.8% of ownership.
I would actually go down to Herbert in a better situation at 6,300. To me, that
I agree.
makes more sense.
Yeah, that's definitely that. If anybody put a little thought process into that, you know what I mean. That's Baker's just not a great play. I would rather play Brock Purdy than I would Baker at 6,100. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I'm not that high on that game either. So I just don't really like Baker. Let's see here. What do we have on Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts is going to be owned 8% this week at $6,700. Ceiling outcome for Jalen Hurts is like what, 35?
Yeah.
Two rushing touchdowns you're hoping for.
Yeah. And you're saying you wouldn't mind putting Hurts and Saquon in the same lineup. You're saying that's an option?
I don't really like it. I don't like it as much. I
Okay.
thought so coming into the year, but the way that they're using Barkley is not so much more in the passing game. I feel like a lot of Saquon's production came from the running game last year that set up the passing game for the Philadelphia Eagles. But apparently they're able to throw it in the second half against the LA Rams and cover a 3.5-point spread. I don't understand how that works out. Vegas, please tell me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a genius or anything. You know what I mean? Jalen Hurts, though, no, I don't like them in the same lineup. I do I'll get a little bit, just not too big on that quarterback room there with Baker and Jalen Hurts. I'd rather get to the running backs. What about A.J. Brown? What's he at? He's got to be expensive. 64, so 15%. I'd say it every week. I think Devontae Smith's a better receiver than A.J. Brown at 6% ownership, $5,400. Those are 1A, 1Bs, in my opinion. Devontae Smith, he can flat out get it. He's just so small, not a physical receiver, but can take your top off.
Yeah. Yeah, I was, when we talked offline, I like Goddard. I don't know what his ownership is.
At 31, I think no, he's not that expensive. He's like 3,200, I think, or 36. Let's see. He's going to be no ownership there. That's an interesting play. Yeah, Goddard's fun. That's not a bad point, really. I'm trying to find him. Yeah, at 2% ownership, $3,900.
Yeah.
A little expensive, but 2% ownership's interesting in that game. If you're wanting some pivots away from an A.J. Brown or a Saquon, maybe you think it just goes to Goddard this week for 2 touchdowns. Like, I see that in a realm of possibilities.
Yeah.
Just a little expensive, but I think it's sneaky enough for a GPP build. You know what I mean? Nobody's going to be on him.
Yep. I'm not the biggest fan of the Eagles side of this.
Yeah.
My pay up, on my sheet of paper, I said my pay up for quarterback is Lamar Jackson. So I would find a way to get 800 more. I would shift some stuff around up to 800 to get Lamar, or pay down. I don't know.
Do you think Lamar's ownership stays where it is at 4%? Or do you think it creeps up to that 7, 8?
I think it's going to stay low because